Welcome to Understanding the Bible with Pastor Stephen. This is Season 3, Episode 16, Israel versus Gaza, What to Believe. So with all the propaganda about Israel, Gaza, Palestine, Iran now, the U.S. government giving billions of dollars, Hamas, Muslim versus Jew, terrorists versus innocents. We hear about children that are dying and innocents on both sides and the soldiers doing evil things. What should we believe? And does it even matter to a Christian beyond just praying for innocent people? Because we never want innocents to die, right? Well, yes, it absolutely does matter. A Bible believer must care about the truth. You don't have to pick a side and pick up a rifle and go fight, but you must stand for the truth and speak up when people lie to you at the very least. As a Christian, a believer in Jesus Christ, it is imperative that you get it right about his chosen people. Deuteronomy 7:6. This was God talking to the Jews. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. I believe that was from Moses speaking that. And then Genesis 12, verse 1. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Abraham was the father of Israel. His son Isaac had Jacob. Jacob had the 12 sons, of which Joseph was one of them, and they became the 12 tribes of Israel. Now let's dispense with some false teachings, the lies first, all right? Because a lot of conservatives, a lot of Christians get this wrong in America. So they will tell you that Christians replaced the Jewish nation in the Bible. They aren't really God's people anymore, and they're not true Jews, okay? That's lie number 1. Lie number 2 is Palestine is a country and a group of people. It's not. That is a complete lie, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then Jews are inherently evil, Zionists. They control everything. That is another, multiple lies in one there. All right, let me explain those and why those are wrong and those are lies, and then we'll talk about the current conflict and such. So first of all, the Christians replaced the Jewish nation in the Bible. That's false. If you look at Romans 11, Romans 9, Romans chapter 3, Jesus' teachings to the Jews, and then sending Paul to the Gentiles when Jesus appeared to him on the road to Damascus, there's so much in there. But let me read part of Romans 11. Verse 1. I say then, hath God cast away his people, the Jews? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. God hath not cast away his people which he foreknew. Verse 5. Even so then at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. So this is Paul saying during his time, a remnant of the Jews are believers in Jesus Christ. And they're going to go to heaven. Okay. Verse 7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. So some from each of the 12 tribes obtained this election by grace from Jesus Christ, and the rest of the Jewish nation were blinded. Verse 25, For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. So he's saying Israel will be blind to who their true Messiah is until the complete number of Gentiles that God has called will become part of them, grafted in to the tribe of Israel, basically. And so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them. Remember, to Abraham first in Genesis, then to King David, where God promised him that his throne would last forever through Jesus Christ. When I shall take away their sins, as concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. So the Jews have become enemies of the gospel because they don't believe in Jesus Christ. But, verse 28 again, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sakes. So God, Jesus Christ, loves the Jews, those who are enemies of him, of the gospel, for their Father's sakes. Why? Because of the covenant that he just mentioned. So God still looks at the Jews as his chosen people, even though they don't follow him, for the sake of their fathers, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and King David. Verse 29, for the gifts and calling of God are without repentance, irrevocable. God made a covenant. He will see it through to the end. The race of Jews are God's chosen people. That's all there is to it. There is no replacement of current Christians. Christians are grafted in to the tribe of the Jews to be part of God's family. Now, the second lie, Palestine is a country and a group of people. I'm sorry, it never was. Search for kings of Palestine on the internet. You will find Wikipedia acknowledges that all the ancient kings of Palestine were Jewish. Britannica.com, same thing. Worldhistory.org, same thing. Any king mentioned in the Palestinian region was Jewish in Judea or in Jerusalem. The only Palestines are Jews. Palestine was just a designation of land that used to be ruled by Philistines. That's it. Google what is the earliest mention of Palestine as a country. It merely meant neighboring land to replace the land of the Canaanites after they were wiped out. It comes from ancient language. The word Peliset means neighbor. That was transliterated over time into Palestine instead of Peliset. The Romans used the name Palestine to refer to Israel as an attempt to wipe out their name and legacy in circa 135 AD after Judea's second revolt against the Roman rulers. They didn't want to call it the land of Israel because they hated the Jews and had just destroyed them. So they called it Palestine to refer back to the Philistines. It comes from the word Pelesheth, which means land of the Philistines, used about 500 BC by the Greeks. The Philistines were destroyed about 100 years before that by the Babylonians. It merely meant the land that the Philistines used to occupy next to our land. In 586 BC, Babylonia conquered the kingdom of Judah. Jerusalem and the first temple were destroyed, and most Jews were sent into exile. They returned approximately 50 years later in 536 BC and continued living there in their land, the land of Israel, that the whole world recognized for over 600 years. Now, in modern times, over the last 200 years since they were destroyed by the Romans, that area of the Middle East has changed hands multiple times, and often peasant farmers fought roaming bands of Arabs. Later, it became part of Turkey, the Ottoman Empire. The Bedouins continued to rule that area and take over parts of it and slaughter people and take the land. Just Google Ben Sacker. There's lots of history there. And then all the way up until the early 1900s, when it was finally kind of settled by about 60,000 people all across the vast land of Palestine, in the early 1900s, 40,000 of those people were Jewish. Their families grew up there. They've lived there. So when they finally got a Jewish state in 1946, formally recognized, I believe it was 1948, the Arabs that were there, 20,000 plus, hated them for it. Yasser Arafat started the idea of a Palestinian state in the 1980s on the land that they stole from Israel, Gaza, by giving guns to the people that lived there and encouraging the murder of Jews. The Jews didn't steal the land, nor are they occupiers of a fake Palestinian state. The Arabs in Gaza are literally the squatters and thieves who made a fake flag to get your sympathy for their quote-unquote rights as criminals to continue to steal land, water, electricity, and to murder Jews. It's like if a neighborhood in America built a wall around themselves and started lobbing bombs over the wall and killing anybody that came near and said, we're not American anymore. We're going to make up our own colorful flag. And here you go. This is proof that we're a state because we have a flag. And then the city that they were in that neighborhood is like, we're providing your water and electricity, and how long do you think that would last before SWAT teams come in and then the National Guard to kill everyone in that city that was still throwing bombs and shooting? It wouldn't take very long. All right. That's all that. And it's even worse in the fake Palestinian area. These people didn't even buy the land like the neighborhood I just described. These people just squatted there because the prime minister of Israel in 1948, or I believe it was 1950s, welcomed them and let them settle there, gave them the land that was Israel's. So the whole idea of a Palestinian state is fake. So that's lie number 2. Lie number 3, Zionists. Jews are inherently evil. Zionists are bad. They control everything. Well, first of all, remember that lie is exactly what Hitler said to gain support against the Jews for the Holocaust. Are there evil people of Jewish race? Yes, I'll give you one right off the top of my head. George Soros, 1998, publicly admitted in an interview that he helped the Nazis kill fellow Jews and that it was a great time in his life that he enjoyed. George Soros is very rich. He controls many things. He is an evil person. That doesn't equal his lineage and his race is evil. Using that logic that all the people in power that are Jewish, so their race must be evil, would lead you to say that Mongols are evil because of Genghis Khan. Black people are evil because of Yakuba Gowon. He was a Nigerian that murdered over 1 million people. Cambodians are evil because of Pol Pot. Germans are evil because of Hitler. Russians are evil because of Stalin. Chinese people are evil because of Mao. That's just stupid. If you want to make that argument that because an evil person is of Jewish lineage, that Jews are bad and they're inherently evil and they control everything, that's not logical. You're a moron. Okay. Now, this idea of Zionism, understand that Zionism merely is the belief that Jews have a right to, one, exist, and to claim their ancient homeland of 3,000 years old, Israel. No other nation on the planet has such a rich history that extends back that far to claim on land owned, down to the details of every city that is currently there, like the capital city of Jerusalem, that was also there 3,000 years ago. No other nation in the world can make that claim. So those are lies that if you've bought into, you really need to do some soul searching as a believer in Jesus Christ, in the truth, in the Bible. You really need to research some of that stuff. Go to a library, for crying out loud. Don't ignorantly buy in to those lies that Palestine is somehow a real place and a real nation state and group of people. It's not. Jews are not Zionists and evil people. And Christians did not replace the Jewish nation in the Bible. Okay, you guys have to understand that. Now, I want to get into what have the two sides done during this conflict. Okay, because that is crucial because a lot of propaganda is out there.